he rubbed cow shit all over Lily. And Lily was like, damn bitch, I've never been this turned on. Hello, I will be talking about It Ends With Us today. Right now I'm at page 160, which is like almost at the halfway point. And let me just catch you up to speed with what's been going on so far. Our main character is called Lily Bloom, and she is a florist, and yes, that name is very much on the nose. Everybody complains about it. Personally, I don't mind it that much. I mean, it's very corny, very cheesy, but it's not the worst crime in this book. So she has abusive parents, and we will get into that later. In this book there are kind of two storylines. The present, where she's a young adult and she's opening up her flower shop, and the past, where she's still a high school student. And in both of these timelines she has different lovers. But in the present timeline, where she's a young adult with a flower shop, her love interest is unfortunately Ryle. He's a neurosurgeon, or he's studying or practicing. He's becoming a neurosurgeon. Girlie is just reserving that future bag that he's gonna make. And the only thing that you need to know about Ryle is that he is horny. It's not cute. And her love interest of the past is Atlas. Or Atlas? I don't know. He's a homeless boy. At first we don't really find out much about his past or his circumstances that led to him being homeless. He didn't get along with his stepfather and then he left, or bro, I don't know, but he is homeless. The book begins of the death of Lily's father, and at his funeral she held a speech about him. I think what she did was she started talking about him and she was like, oh yeah, now I will list up all the things that I like about my dad. And then she just stayed silent for like the next 2 minutes. And after this she goes to a rooftop, not to kill herself, but to just digest the situation and clear her head. And while she's up there, this random dude shows up and he just starts throwing a temper tantrum. Like, he grabs chairs and destroys them and bangs them against walls and whatnot. And Lily's just standing over there. He didn't see her yet, and she's just like, bam, boom. This guy turns out to be the future love interest of Lily. What I've heard so far from the internet is that the relationship in this book is going to turn abusive, and just the fact that we get to know Ryle as this dude who gets super angry and starts destroying chairs. I think this is very much foreshadowing what's going to happen in the book soon. Oh yeah, I also wanted to mention this theme of the two main lovers meeting while they're both in crises is a pretty common theme in Colleen Hoover books. I also read Verity by her. I will not spoil what happened in Verity, but it was a lot. I would not have expected a romance to come out of that situation in Verity. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, at some point the angry boy on the rooftop sees Lily and they get talking. And surprisingly, Lily is not fearing for her fucking life up there. She's alone with this angry dude on the rooftop. No. She's just like, damn, he got some big ass chunky ass arms. Look at this dude, he kinda sexy. Like, Miss Girl, did you not see what he did with them arms just now? He took a bunch of chairs and destroyed them. Like, I'm sorry girl, but I don't think that anger issues are that attractive, but like, you do you. While they're on the rooftop they talk about life and shit, and they're pretty emo, and then I think they make out, or they started making out, but they don't have sex. This is going to be relevant for the rest of the story. After that they don't really stay in contact, but throughout the next year, Ryle keeps popping up into her life again and again and again. So Lily opens up a flower shop. She hasn't opened it up yet, but she's preparing to open it up. And randomly, this girl shows up and is like, oh yeah, I wanted to ask if I can help you in your flower shop. I have nothing better to do, so can I help you? She's just an angel. Like, it's insane how lucky Lily is to meet this girl, because Lily is not sure how to go about opening up her flower shop, and then this girlie shows up and is like, oh yeah, let me just do the whole thing for you, basically. And she provides Lily with everything that could be necessary to even open up the flower shop. Oh yeah, and she's rich. Lily basically got herself kind of like a sugar mommy, but also like an emotional support mommy. But Lily doesn't even have to do anything to receive all of that, so it's just insane. Her friend really is the definition of a manic pixie dream girl. Lily doesn't do anything, but suddenly this person shows up who's like super quirky and has a lot of energy and is super cute, and she's just always happy to help Lily wherever she can. The reasoning behind that turns out to be she married rich, but they're struggling to conceive, so she decides to kind of view this whole flower shop as a hobby or a distraction from the situation. Which, I mean, good for Lily, but it's just so unrealistic. I could go on about the manic pixie dreamy girl for hours, but let's move on. Her brother turns out to be Ryle, the angry guy. And when I told you just now that throughout the next year he will show up constantly throughout her life at random moments, what I mean is that he will get super horny and start begging her to let him fuck her. Like, he texts her, "Oh, I'm so horny, what did you do to me?" Or sometimes he even shows up at her doorstep and gets on his knees and literally begs her, "Please let me have sex with you. I cannot get you out of my head. I cannot focus on my studies because I'm so horny." Do we all find this hot? Is this... Hello? Maybe this is because I don't really see men in that way, but like I would laugh and call the police on this guy if somebody showed up at my doorstep randomly begging me to him. It's not hard. Like, I don't care how big his biceps is. It's just fucking disturbing. And he keeps doing that. But at some point they do end up having sex together. Good for them. The sex scene, honestly, it was alright. I mean, we know Colleen Hoover she's a horny girl. Right after they had sex for the first time, they start this trial run of a relationship where they test out what it would be like if they started dating. And right away he is very keen on meeting her mother, or like she tells him, "Oh yeah, I'm meeting my mother later for brunch or something," and he's like, "Oh yeah, I will join you." Bro, chill. Why you want to meet her mother so fast? Here we get to the part that made me literally gasp. Guess who turns out to be the waiter at the restaurant? It's Atlas, her teenage love interest who she hasn't been in contact with for 9 years. Bro, I ate that shit up. Like, that's the kind of drama I'm looking for. Now let's get to the storyline of the past. So we get to find out about what happened in the past through these journal entries / letters to Ellen DeGeneres. Yes, the lesbian that has been cancelled. This is so random. I don't know why this was done. Basically, teenage Lily, she really liked watching her show, and she had the great idea, what if I write her a bunch of letters documenting my life to her, and maybe I could send them to her, and then one day she would invite me to her show to talk about my life so far, because it's so interesting, I guess. You know what? She was 15 years old at the time. It's weird, but everybody's weird as a teenager, so it's forgiven. Very random to read about this teenage love story, and before that always having to read like a paragraph about Ellen DeGeneres, like, "Oh yeah, I like you so much. I know you're a lesbian, but like I have a boyfriend now." Colleen Hoover, why could you not just have her write a normal diary? You know what, maybe this was intentional. Maybe Colleen Hoover wanted us to have very strong reactions about this. Anyways, how Lily and Atlas meet is he's a boy who goes to her school, and he's canonically very stinky. Like, everybody kind of shies away from him because they're like, "Bro, he never showers, he always wears the same clothes, he smells bad." And that's because he's homeless. He also doesn't go to homeless shelters because he doesn't really trust them or doesn't enjoy the experience there. So instead he stays at this abandoned house, which turns out to be the neighboring house to Lily's house. And one day Lily spots him going to that house, and she recognizes him from school, and then she puts 2 and 2 together and she's like, "Oh my god, this dude is homeless. Let me start to feed him." She starts taking care of him and very much mothering him. She provides him shelter by letting him stay in her house when it gets too cold in the winter. She gives him food all the time. She lets him use the shower. She gives him clothes from his father so he can have more clothes. She just yeah, takes care of him all of the time. While she does that, her parents never know about him. Lily keeps him a secret, also in school. Nobody knows about them at first. This goes on for months, and they get really close. At the beginning, she doesn't yet know why he is homeless, but she just provides him with care without a second question. While all of this is happening, her mother still gets abused by the father regularly because he has anger issues. For example, there was this one occasion where she parked her car in the wrong spot, and then he was like, "No, I want to park my car there. You move your car instantly." And then she immediately does that, but then he still starts beating her up and is like, "How dare you? That's so disrespectful. That was my parking spot." So yeah, he got the anger issues. It's not funny. It's very gruesome. Oh yeah, so trigger warning. If you want to read this book, maybe don't do that. If you're not comfortable with reading about abuse, don't read the book. The parents' relationship has been like that for all of Lily's life. It's what she grew up with, and usually when she shows up while her father is beating up the mother, the father will stop, or at least like quiet down, because he doesn't feel comfortable doing it in the presence of his own child. Now Lily is in a very tough position here, as I imagine any child of parents who abuse each other would be. Of course she wants the abuse to stop, but as a child she cannot do much. She could call the police, but she also doesn't want to call the police on her own family, of course. One time her father even gets abusive towards her, which never happened before, but he pushes her and she hits her head and she needs to be taken to the hospital by her mother. The father doesn't even check up on her if she's seriously injured. He just takes off. Lily secretly hoped that if it ever happened that her father also abused Lily, that the mother would finally pull the final straw and say, "Okay, this is enough, I will leave him now." But instead of that, the mother tells Lily to keep quiet and tell everyone that she fell instead of her father hitting her. And with that, Lily also loses hope that the situation between her parents would ever change. It's really sad. And it gets even worse. Very big trigger warning, not only for physical abuse but also sexual abuse. So one time while Lily and Atlas are at home just hanging out, she walks in on her father trying to rape her mother. In fact, he does rape her mother. This time Lily doesn't just stand by. She grabs a knife and she wants to stab her father. Since Atlas was there, he stops her in time, which I can't imagine how tough that must have been. Because of course Atlas doesn't want the mother to get raped either, but he also can't let Lily stab the father. This was such a difficult scene. But yeah, and then it's mentioned that the mother makes eye contact with Lily and Atlas while she's getting raped. And just the picture that I had in my head while reading that. One question I have about this whole scenario is why the mother doesn't recognize Atlas later in the restaurant. I mean, you would imagine that the face of the guy, of the stranger who was in your house while you were getting raped by your husband, this stranger that prevented your daughter from stabbing your husband while he's raping you, you would think that that stays in your mind, but she just doesn't recognize him at the restaurant. I mean, to be fair, 9 years have passed, but yeah, I was confused about it. I thought that was kind of a plot hole. Another plot hole is, why didn't she ask Lily who that boy was? I mean, it was a stranger boy in her house who also wore the clothes of the father, because Lily gave him the clothes of the father to keep warm, to chill. Why was this not discussed? I know the mother avoids everything, but bro, that's a plot hole. Now, Atlas got in contact with his uncle and he's going to move to Boston, where he will stay with his uncle, so he won't be homeless anymore, which is good. However, of course, Lily and Atlas, they will have to separate, which they do. But Lily promises him, "One day I will move to Boston and open a flower shop there." Which she does. And then she meets Atlas again. But he sees her on the date with Ryle, even though Ryle wasn't even supposed to be there. Ryle invited himself to the restaurant With the mother, after the restaurant, Lily and Atlas, they talk for a little bit. And he asks about Ryle because he saw them kissing each other. And she tells him, oh yeah, I met this guy a year ago. Which makes it sound like they've been dating for a year, even though they've only been dating for like 3 days. They're not even in a relationship, they are still in the trial. Then Atlas tells Lily, oh yeah, 1 year ago I also got together with my girlfriend Cassie, which I haven't continued reading this book yet, but I smell Cap. This bitch, I'm sure this bitch is not in a relationship. I'm sure he just wanted to make her jealous or whatever. But we'll see, I don't know. But he tells her, I wish we could have met 1 year ago. So when they were both still single, and it's so obviously that they still have feelings for each other, and I just want them to get together because anything is better than fucking Ryle. I mean, yeah, he got the bag, but like, nah. I want my homeless guy, even though he's canonically smelly. Now you're caught up to speed with everything that's been going on in the book so far until page 160. Now let me share some thoughts. So in the past, when Atlas was still homeless, it's not funny, but what is funny is that the relationship between Lily and Atlas was so wholesome, but so gross. Like, not only did he never shower and smelled super bad, but he also rubbed cow shit all over Lily, and Lily said, and Lily was like, damn bitch, I've never been this turned on. Let me find the quote, 1 second. When he was wiping that cow shit on me, it was quite possibly the most turned on I've ever been. Are the straights okay? Oh yeah, for context, they were doing like garden work before, and he used cow shit and the soil, and he smudged that on her, and then they started like play fighting or something, I don't know. Another pretty gross thing was during the winter it got really cold in the abandoned house, of course, and he got really sick. So one time he showed up at Lily's window and he was like, bro, I feel sick. And she was like, damn bro, lie down in my bed. And then she got him a bucket and he threw up a bunch. Like, he threw up every hour. And I think this was the first time that they were both laying in bed together. And it was described that every hour he started aggressively vomiting, and that went on just for the entire day. And Lily said something along the lines of, I believe this was the worst day of his life. Meanwhile, I was enjoying it. Lily, are you fucking okay? I don't know what kind of fetish she has for bad hygiene, but Miss Girly? No. Another thing, this isn't about the bad hygiene anymore, but when Lily got hurt by her father, she had a wound on her face, and when she didn't want to tell Atlas what happened, he did a fucking wrist reveal. Like, she told him, oh, I fell down, and he was like, yeah bitch, I fell down too. So he had scars on his wrist. It was described as both scratches and like cigarette burns, and it wasn't explained whether he got those scars from self-harm or from abuse from the parents. But seriously, a wrist reveal? Bitch, I laughed. I'm sorry. It's not funny, but it's not funny. So the age gap between Lily and Atlas was a bit weird. So she was 15 and he was 18 at the time, which, you know, it's not that bad. Listen, I'm European, so I'm used to things way worse than that. But it's still a bit weird, of course, because with 18 you have a whole different level of maturity than a 15-year-old. Even though she was the way younger one, she was the one mothering him anyway, so it was very odd. I don't know. Anyways, let's just move on from that. I will not start the discussion about age gaps in relationships because I don't want to get shit thrown on me. I'm not into that, unlike Lily. Anyways, why does Colleen Hoover feel the need to describe biceps all the time? This is the 3rd book that I've read from Colleen Hoover so far, and every time the love interest is described as super muscular and a red flag and rich. That's okay, that's cool and nothing wrong with that, but like, why? But it's obvious that Colleen Hoover has a type. Very much. I also think that the moments when she describes the characters as super sexy and muscular, it's just so random. I think I already mentioned like when Lily and Ryle first met on the rooftop while he was having a temper tantrum, Lily kept focusing on his arms and talking about them, and like, bro, that's not the vibe right now. Right now you should be fearing for your life, not fearing for your coochie. And later when Lily and Atlas reunite, Atlas is also described as this super buff guy because he spent years at the army, and he's like, oh yeah, this is what years at the army do to you. Anyways, the last thing that I noted was the relationship between Lily and the mother. I really liked how Lily subconsciously copies the mannerisms, the attitude of her mother, especially in the relationships. So with Atlas, as I've said before, she's very mothering in the relationship. She always wants her partner to feel good and almost babied. And with Ryle, she's very obedient with him and she's admiring him all the time, and she's very she's a bottom. Yeah, she acts very housewifey with him. She wants to please him all the time, and when he begs her to let her fuck him, luckily she has some self-respect and is like, no bro, I don't want you to just smash and then run away. But I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways, it's quite interesting how Ryle is so much like her father, because he also has anger issues. He's very dominant in the relationship and in bed. My predictions for the rest of the book are Ryle will start taking his frustration or his stress from work out on Lily. He will stop being the charming guy and he will start revealing the bad things about his personality. And Lily will keep it a secret, also from her Manic Pixie Dream girlfriend. Or actually no, I think the Manic Pixie Dream girl will be like, oh yeah, you shouldn't be together with Ryle because he has anger issues. But still Lily remains stuck in the relationship. But at some point, somehow Atlas will help her out of the relationship and save her, and then they will get together. And I don't know, maybe Ryle and Atlas will get into a fight or something. I'm not sure, but that's my prediction. Yeah, those are my thoughts so far. Usually I'm not really, I wouldn't consider myself a Colleen Hoover girl. I feel like I don't want to generalize, but a lot of Colleen Hoover fans are of a certain demographic that I'm not a part of, mainly because I'm not straight. I feel like Colleen Hoover's readers are mostly straight because most of the books are also straight. I don't know. Oh, one more thing. Colleen Hoover is incredibly good at building up tension. Some people might say her writing style is almost too simple because all of her sentences are so easy to digest. You don't have to think about what does this word mean. You don't have to worry about the language and instead can focus on the storyline. And because of that, the story is able to progress so fast, but also like not too fast. It's very well paced. It's paced so that you always stay tense and wanting to find out what else will happen. That was it for now. I will most likely post a second reading log when I finish the book, but this is it so far. We're at half point, and yeah, let's see where this goes. I think it will start going downhill from here, so